Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're subscribed, you've seen the Bayou come together, you saw the pit bike come together. So far, everything's turned out pretty good. You've heard me talk about it. We've got the 97 Recon in the shop. It's actually ridden by my oldest son. We're going to be wrapping that in a blue digital camo. A few upgrades, mainly cosmetic. This bike was actually mine before I got the Kodiak, so there's nothing really that needs to be done with it in terms of the mechanicals itself. Runs great. So when I got it, had a blown up motor, connecting rod completely broke off, wrist pin, everything just shot. So all you heard was clanking when you pulled on it. But put a little bit in it, rode it for a few years, decided to get my Kodiak. So we're going to go ahead and start the upgrades to the old Recon here. That's the blue digital camo. You saw one of the first videos. We have that now. It's time to start tearing this thing down. Make some progress on it. I've got my future YouTuber here. This is my oldest son, Tyler. You saw Mason. He was the one with the Bayou. You see, he's got his own camera. So it's actually one of my old ones. Nothing special, but we all got to start somewhere, right? So go ahead and stay tuned. We'll get this thing taken apart. We're going to go ahead and get the back taken off now. Another video, you'll see everything start to come back together, but subscribe, stay tuned. Let's get started. What do you think, bud?
Yes.
Yes.
My camera.
Let's get started. He's recording too. Alright, we're going to take a small break. Both of us are starving. Sun's starting to go down. But we got the rear apart. Got to still take the front apart. That'll be coming up shortly. But this is the that's the camo my man wanted. So that's the camo that we got. That's what the bike's going to be covered in. But first, one of the things we got to do, we got to clean this thing. The other thing that I want to do is the inside. When you look inside of here, this is all still going to be red. So, got to get a good coat of black on there. Make sure that you don't see any of it, any of the red peeking through. You might see a little as he rides it, but something we can easily touch up. But the last thing I want to do is cover the outside in blue camo. Have the inside be nice, shiny red, or muddy red. Either way, we don't want it red. So, what do you say we get some grub, dude?
Yes.
Yes, he's hungry.
Affirmative.
Affirmative. He talks like a robot. You learned that in the pit bike video. Stay tuned. We're going to strip the rest of this down. Get started on cleaning the rest of the parts so we can get some wrap on there. Alright, we got some grub in it. Time to get to the front. started out. It's basically a quick cosmetic upgrade similar to the pit bike, but tearing the front end of the Recon down to a skeleton. Pretty much noticed that the tie rods were shot and the upper ball joints had a little play in them. Well, since we're dealing with basically a skeleton hanging there, now's the time to do it. I can get to everything. I can work, get my ball joint pressed in there. Lower seat pretty good, but right now I've got to get those uppers replaced. We do have them in, again, from All Balls Racing, brand new ball joints. They hopefully they'll last. They came with everything we need, so tried not to go cheap on this because I will have Tyler on this. He's got to be safe out there, so we'll go ahead and get them ball joints replaced, and I'll show you how to do that. All right, guys, like I mentioned, the Recon here is going to need tie rod ends. The upper ball joint's got a little play to them, but definitely the left front wheel, I'll show you that once we get it off, is pretty loose. Turn the handlebars, go left and right. Right front wheel moves, left front wheel doesn't, so right when you wiggle it. So today we're going to show you how to get these in and out of tie rod ends put on, and a handy trick just to kind of set the alignment on the bench. So keep watching, get these things off here, and we'll get her done. The tie rod right here, this is the outer, that's the inner. The outer tie rod on the other side is the one that's bad, and I'll show you how much play that has to it. The outside one, you can get an impact on, get a socket on, no problem. There are slots on here for a 17mm wrench, so we can hold the ball joint while you run the nut off. And we've already got the cotter pins removed out of this, make life a little bit easier. The inner, however, you're not getting a socket on that. So that is going to be dual wrenches all the way until we get that thing off. So once you get them spinning, though, they should pop right out. They are left and right hand thread for this tube. That way when you turn it, it either goes in or out. And that's how you set your toe. So let's get this thing dismantled, and I'll show you what I mean by easy way to set the toe on the bench. Alright, we finally got our tie rods in. We did buy the entire kit. We got it from All Balls Racing. As you can see, the new one, a little bit thicker than the other one. Should be a little bit stronger out there. These have done well. I don't see an issue with it. But it was actually easier, cheaper, just to buy the whole assembly than it was to buy just the ends. You can see as I've got the clamps here, and that makes a jig. So that way, when you put it in, it pretty much sets your toe exactly where you need to be. So, and I set to the plastic, not to the rubber, so that way there's no flex. So it fits right in there. That way we can set the new ones up to match the other. If you notice, I did mark right. This is the right side, and that's outer. So just a small arrow, keep my orientation correct. With the pre-assembly, slide the jam nut on there, and without dropping it. Make sure you have the right one. They are specific left and right hand threads. The outer tie rod is a right hand thread. The inner tie rod is a left hand thread. And the reason that's like that is so when you turn this, you can move it in or out. So that way it goes in opposing directions. So let's go ahead and get these pre-assembled, and we'll get them set in the jig. We'll do both of them real quick. We'll get them on the bike. start by disconnecting the brake line. I'm just going to take the mounts off, not actually going to take the brake line loose. There's no reason. Now, the snap ring up top here, inevitably, is full of mud and dirt. So what I typically do is take a small pick, clean out the holes for the snap ring before I do anything, just so I don't forget. Now, we've already got the cotter pin removed, but got to loosen the castle nut that's underneath of there. This is going to prove to be a little tricky. Come from the other side. And there's not a lot of torque on these. So in theory, this should come right apart. We're going to give it a couple smacks the old school way. And that's not going to come apart that way. So, we've got our ball joint separator. Go ahead and put that in there. What this will do, press the ball joint out of the knuckle or the spindle. And pop goes the weasel. So from here, we'll go ahead and pull our castle nut. Lift the upper control arm right out of it. Got our snap ring pliers. You can do this with a flathead, it just takes forever. Clean the dirt off, snap ring comes right out. And these press out from the top, they go out through the bottom. We've got our ball joint press from OTC. You could take the whole upper arm off, put it in a vise, use 2 sockets, one large, one that'll fit the top here, press it right out, but we're going to use the actual ball joint press from OTC to get this out. And just like that, out comes your ball joint. We've got the new one ready to go in. Check the opening, make sure there's no burrs. You should probably get the cup off that wedged in there. We're good. The new one will press right in from the bottom. New one, old one. Double check, make sure that they are similar. These are from all balls, so I don't have any doubt that they're not quality. So, but installation, virtually the removal or the opposite of removal. You got to make sure you get it in there centered though. You don't want to drive it in there crooked. But that being said, we've got to try to do this the other way. All right, I've got to set up upper arm in the all the way position. I didn't want to take it off. In a true garage ingenuity, I've got a motorcycle strap or a friction strap holding the upper arm in place, and all that is so I have access to get the tool where it needs to go. So what we're going to do from here is I don't have the proper cup for the new ball joint to go in. So I'm going to use a socket, and that socket will push right against that lip. You don't want to push against the rubber, you want to push against the lip of the actual metal, and that will push it up into place. So we're going to use this. I do not suggest using a hammer. Normally I would, because it works, So, but we're going to use a socket, push that up in place, and that should go right back in. We only have to go that 1/4 inch or so. It's sitting in there nice and flush and snug as it is. So let's get this driven in, shall we? Alright guys, well, there you have it. We've got our upper ball joints in, we've got our tie rods in, so we still got to do the other side. We're going to work on that here in a minute, but it's just a mirror image of what we did on this side, so there's no sense of boring y'all with it. So if you're not subscribed, hit subscribe, ring the bell, you'll get notifications of new videos coming out. We got plenty of work still to do, both here on the Recon, got some other projects coming up, but all I can say guys is be safe, take care of yourself, and we'll all get through this together. So we got plenty of work in the shop here to keep us busy. All is well. So we'll catch you on the next one.